So the G3, which was a G4, what? I mean, it's a G3, right? Or a G4. That's no mix. Well, unless it's called the eMac. In 2002, when Apple released the G4 iMacs, there was a high demand from schools to have something more cheap, because G4s were very expensive because of their LCD screen. So Apple figured out that it's a good idea to move the G3 form factor and merge it with the G4 insides. And that's what they did. So they created a new machine, which was an old machine, but a new one, and they called it the eMac, which stands for education. And they created it and sold it for schools, and then for everyone else, and then for schools again. And then they discontinued it. Now, why is that important? Because when I finished the work with the studio, I went to the local recycling center and I found one. It was out there in the rain and it was quite sad looking. It was a really bad feeling to see a piece of history out there, and I thought that I need to save this machine. So that's what we are going to do today. So I brought home an eMac. So there it is, the eMac I found. On paper it should have a 700 MHz G4 CPU with 128 megabytes of RAM and 40 gigs of hard drive, none of which we know if it works or if it's upgraded after that. So we're going to open this guy up, clean it, and turn it on. Maybe we should start with that. I'm not sure whether this is normal. It certainly doesn't feel like proper Apple standards. But maybe 2002 was different. So let's try to get the cable in. Cable is in. And let's see what happens if I press the button. Nothing. So the computer doesn't turn on. Therefore, it's time to disassemble it. But before we do that, it's a good idea to have a look how it looks like. As you can see, it has some paint. This looks like wall paint. And obviously we've got some dirt and dust as well. Interestingly enough, it doesn't look like anything like you can find on internet or YouTube, those rescue videos where they find a computer and it looks like, it just survived a proper apocalypse. You literally couldn't tell that this is from a recycling center. Removing the screws were easy until I found... Okay, what? Uh-oh. Another one killed. Now let's see whether what we've seen on the internet works or not. So let's try to shove this thing in. Why would it work, right? I mean, it went straight through this thing. Yes! Yes! There are corrosions on both sides of the CRT, but nothing to worry about just for now. These are mild ones. But this is a problem. I mean, this is supposed to be not like this, that a silver ring should be attached to the plastic cover. It seems that the button is completely disintegrated and the front cover of the button was only held back by glue. As the idea is that if we would connect the red and blue wires, that should be triggering the computer to turn on. So we are going to try that right now. Oh my goodness me. There was high voltage, there was sound. No screen. So we've got the ROM making the noise. We've got the booting screen, boot screen, boot screen, boot screen. How cool is that? Oh, loading. Okay, now macOS 10. Let's see how the speaker's working. It ejects, so that's great. Okay. Hopefully this will not end up being punished by YouTube. So let's see what it does. Not bad from a 20-year-old computer out in the rain. We just need to do some cleaning on this machine, then on the outside, because, well, apparently we are having a working machine. I am thrilled that this will be a short video, just cleaning. Cool. Yeah, this feels like wall paint. Yeah. Okay, let's try to soak it a bit, because I can't remove this grill in any shape or form because these are melted together. So I had to feed in a piece of paper, and I am trying to get through it to make sure that it can remove the dirt. It's quite a tedious work to do, so yeah, let's continue with the fun. So we are lucky because the battery down here is still in good condition, so it's not leaking. After careful investigation, it turns out that the eMac had only one problem. It's the switch, which after doing some internet research, I found that has been a generic problem for these eMacs back in the days. Now, quite a lot of people just suggested to leave it as is and then short the two wires, the shiny red and shiny black, which brings the transistor base to ground, and it turns off on the machine, which is good. So it does work, but it's not pretty, so I'm going to look for a new button. Also, there is room for improvement for the eMac because it only has 128 megs of RAM, so we could get more and then, you know, bring it up to the max of either 512 or 256, which would be probably enough. And thinking about maybe swapping out the old hard drive with a bit more speedier SSD, that would give it a bit of power to it. And also I need to replace the battery because it turns out, although it's not leaking, it doesn't hold any charge, so the date and time always reverts back to 1970, 1st of Jan. So it needs to be done. That's for now. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Check out another video and see you next time. Bye-bye.